What is up, ladies and gents? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcast, RAF ESPARZA, coming to you with another great installment of the Bullpen. Yes, that's right, everybody. It is our 1-year anniversary. I hope that you got us a gift. We will be checking. We did register, so yes, some people say register. I say register, mostly because I've been watching The White Lotus and I have been picking up accents from doing that. Nonetheless, very happy you guys are here. If you like this content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It does mean a lot to us. And yes, we do have our friends joining us here today. Why don't we go in and take a look at the other person that's been here from the very beginning, my good longtime friend, Tim Freeman. Tim, how are you doing, sir?
What's going on, Raf? Happy anniversary. I just wanted to let everyone know that I'm registered at Tiffany's. I would like some fine 1-year anniversary jewelry. Basically, whatever you have to get your girl for your 1-year anniversary, you got to get us. At least equivalent value. And I don't come cheap these days, but I'm glad to be here, man. Congrats on 1 year. It's good to be back. Didn't get a show in last week, and I was kind of missing you guys. Not afraid to say it.
Likewise. Well, somebody who's been sorely missed here has been texting his haircut stylist. And yes, he is also joining us back here. Kevin Sherrill. Kevin, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, man. Tim says we have to, whatever we would get our girlfriend for our 1-year anniversary, we need to get him. So Tim's getting ghosted.
Oh, wow. All right. got incredibly sad. Hey, guys, before I press this button, I want you to acknowledge a cool transition that's going to happen. So I want you to keep your eyes on Kevin. Now, Kevin, for him, that's easy. But for the rest of you, watch what happens as I press the transition button and see if you aren't in awe in the way that we now transition here on the show.
Wow.
It's pretty cool.
Fancy, man. That's that increased budget, man. We're a real show. It
costs a lot more money to be able to do that, but we are able to do it, so we will do it a lot. Nonetheless, it has been very fun to be doing the show for a year. It has been incredible, and what better way to mark 1 year of the Bullpen than to have things to talk about, like someone else getting busted for the IBJJF. I feel like that's the gift that keeps on giving. Are you gentlemen familiar with who got busted today?
Yeah.
Oh, this is breaking news. No, I'm not. Pray tell.
Kevin, would you like to go ahead and reveal who has been busted?
It's Felipe
today?
Costa, right?
It is. You have no sense of timing on this one. You let me finish the sentence so that I can set it up for you. Instead, I'm like, Kevin, it's Felipe Costa. Okay. Sounds great.
All right.
So, do you know what he got busted for, Kevin?
Clomiphene.
Okay. I was nervous because it was hanging on 50-50 here. Yes. The question that BJJ Eastern Europe put up is, why does a 24-year-old like Felipe Costa need chlorophene? So, Tim, what does that do? Do you know what it does? And second, why does a 24-year-old need it?
Well, it's a fertility drug for women. Probably what it is some type of estrogen blocker, I would assume, or maybe something in that arena. Some guys will take that at the end of a cycle just to make sure that their testosterone, their natural system can kind of kick back in, not be too suppressed. I've actually heard of some people taking stuff like that alone, just on its own, in an attempt to raise their testosterone. I'm not sure if that's why. Maybe he has a medical reason. Maybe he's trying to get pregnant. I don't know, dog. I have no clue. He might be trying to have twins. Who knows? But in this case, IBJJF said you cannot take that.
Have we considered it's our 1-year anniversary? Maybe it's for us. Maybe he's just being thoughtful.
Maybe it is, man. Thank you so much, Felipe Costa.
He's like, you ruined the surprise.
You know what, though? It's great because this is why our show exists. If anybody ever wonders why we do what we do, it's like, how does this affect us? Or how are we benefiting from someone failing a drug test? And I guess the weird part is, like, can we have access to the footage that they have when they ask them why they're taking what they're taking? Because I feel like when you get caught and you know that you got caught, I want to see the backpedaling from the athletes being like, what? Oh, how did that get there? What? Who? Me? Oh. Yeah, you got me, man. Yeah, I've been taking it, but it's because I'm trying to get pregnant. Am I right?
Bro.
Don't ask, don't tell, etc., etc. That's not. Oh, it doesn't work. Shit. Okay.
Which Felipe Costa is this? Is this OG Felipe Costa?
No, it's the kid.
Nah.
Costa.
The new kid, the new guy, the new Costa.
The new Felipe Costa.
This one.
They're like
have this as an
cyborgs, man. There's
overlay,
always another.
There's always another. Yes.
It's like Cyborg, right? There's just always a new cyborg in fighting. It's like a mantle they pass down. Cyborgs, Felipe Costas.
Here's the thing. Costa probably doesn't care. He's already got some fights on Fight Pass. He's already been at FPI. IBJJF's not giving him any scratch to go put his pajamas on and compete. So it's probably not. It might actually be in this day a badge of honor to be kicked out or suspended from the IBJJF. That might be the stripe. Yeah, and then that's how you go. Like, hey man, I can't do that anymore. They kicked me out.
You know what it is? It's the scene in Goodfellas when you got your first pitch for the first time, where they're like, "Did you just get? Oh, come here!" They give Ray Liotta all the props in the world. I think that's what happened. He became a made man by getting his first IBJJF accusation. I guess the weird part of all of this is, and you guys can tell me if you feel differently. I feel like the retroactive IBJJF sort of punishments that we've seen in the past make it so confusing always to know how long it's in effect for, because you see them come back the next month, because usually they'll say he is now banned from competing in any IBJJF ever for 2 years, which started 2 years ago.
I would say retroactively.
And you're always like, wait, what does that mean? So I really wish the IBJJF would be like, hey, from today, he can't compete for 2 months. And then you do the math and you go, that's right before Worlds. He could probably still make it for Worlds if it was a 2-month ban. So I want to know timetables, because if I'm a competitor and that dude's out and I'm in his division and I was on the fence, now I'm like, well, if he's out, I mean, I should really sign him now.
Does he lose his IBJJF points, his Dave and Buster's points for that he got that year? Or like, does it or can he just sort of, because they depreciate year to year, right? Like Dave and Buster's points. And so like, when can he like just qualify for Black Belt Worlds off the fact that he was like not a world champion now, but still maybe technically a medalist, still won a bunch of tournaments?
Some important news about that. So let me share. And I feel if I am betraying some trust here, I apologize in advance, but I will apologize retroactively. So it'll go back to the part when I decided to do this maybe about 2 minutes ago. But our social media clip guy, Brian Peterson, texted me and said, does that count for his 2021 brown belt run at Nogi Worlds 2? Because I should podium there. So we actually had vested interest here on the show.
Okay.
I don't think it actually matters on that one. But let's say if it went all the way back to 2021, our boy, Brian Peterson, makes it to the podium. So as far as I'm concerned, you can't prove it. You can't disprove it. So I just say, Brian, congratulations on taking third, sir. That was a
double third
moment.
If you find out someone did steroids retroactively, they're disqualified from every tournament you've ever been with them. I'm winning a lot of fucking tournaments all of a sudden. I'm a fucking champ, bro.
I'm just saying. I mean, listen, we all know the accusations. And for those of us who compete natty, which might be 1 to 2/3 of this podcast.
Well, hold up. I didn't say I competed natty. I asked if they popped. Do I win?
Right.
They don't test the number 2 in IBJJF, right? No, so I'm good.
Which is still, by the way, the funniest test in the world. Did you win? No. Oh, then get out of here, guy.
Obviously,
you're fine. Whatever cheating you did didn't work.
Get a new doctor, scrub.
You cheat to the bottom, nerd. Anyways, test champ over here.
Maybe that's like a missed opportunity for money for the IBJJF people, because you got your acai booth, your merch booth. You could also have your steroid booth there and be like, listen, we're not saying you can do this, but if you need an extra boost and you're not winning, you might as well look good at second place.
Yeah.
Strong point. Dude, honestly, it doesn't make any sense to not do steroids for like if you're gonna if the whole getting caught thing. There's reasons to not do steroids that have nothing to do with IBJJF. But like the IBJJF punishment metrics for them make no fucking sense.
Yeah.
They lose no money. If you miss the championship spot, then nobody ever finds out you did steroids because they don't bother testing you. If you win the championship spot, not only did you win it, but I didn't know Felipe won it until he popped. It's like extra publicity. Like, you're welcome, bro. Now you're famously a black belt. I now just found out he's a black belt world champion. It doesn't matter with the technically not, but whatever.
I would have to say, Kevin as a publicist probably has some methods that are unquestioned yet, but that may be effective going forward, because Kevin's sitting there being like, hey man, the word on the streets is that you weren't known as being a world champion. I think we need to get you on steroids so people can know you've won a few tournaments. Now, I'm not saying it's a good or a bad thing. I'm just saying, if people are talking about you, good publicity. Anyways, pay me the money you don't have. Thank you.
Who's the guy that didn't bother to cycle off? I can't remember who it was. It was one of the like AOJ or Atos guys, of course, right? Narrows it down. But he popped for everything. He had like the list of things. But he popped for like everything. And we're like, oh, so he never had any intention of passing this test. No. He just said, yeah, fuck it. I did it. What?
Listen, if you are going to fail, you might as well go all the way. So there is an appreciation of, why are you going to clean it up a little bit? Like, show
I respect the audacity.
Like, this is a math equation. Show your work. Let the whole class see how you did it. That's all.
Let them see the stack.
Absolutely. Because at a certain point, don't you kind of want to know? Like, yes, you could have your morality and saying, hey, listen, that's terrible. You should never do it. But I do want to know, like, how did you get that cut, man? Because you look pretty good there.
I have never bought a Gordon Ryan technique DVD. I would buy the access to the stack tomorrow. I just want to fucking know. He was like, yeah, I'll tell you where I got it and like what it is and what labs and what makes it special. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'll learn chemistry for this. Absolutely. Tell me what it is, dude.
I do love that we have gotten to the point where, and I've said this on the show multiple times, the O.J. Simpson, if I did it, is the most popular of all the things you could buy. Because Gordon Ryan is like, I mean, it's not illegal to do this. And you go, how are we defining this? Like, what are we talking about here, sir?
Bro, Gordon Ryan, if I did it as a BJJ Fanatics DVD, he's not clever enough for that. So if he uses it, you're welcome, Gordon. But like, if he used that, that would do so many numbers. Gordon Ryan, if I did it, and it's just the Breaking Bad thing in the background.
I've just always thought to myself, well, this is the branding we really should be doing. But nonetheless, it does seem like we have some stuff to get to. So I'm going to go through some stuff again. But before I press the button, I just want you guys to once again marvel at the new transition. So we only saw it last time with Kevin. Now, let's see how this bitch works when I go to the board. So when we switch to the board now, watch this superior transition. I dare another program to do what we do. In 3, 2, bam. Look at this transition. Look at that. It's the Michael Jackson morph in the black and white video. It only took me 35 years to get it, but I fucking got it. So take that, other shows.
Nice work.
Let's say, take that, BJJ mental models. They don't take that. Let's start with our first topic. It is pretty cool to see that, yes, the Zapatero Invitational was widely watched this week and gave away $100,000. They had promised it last year, and this week they were able to give that $100K to one DeAndre Cobre, and I'm very excited about the discussion on this because, Kevin, you were so excited. You said it was the best thing that you've seen. So please, regale us. Tell us why it was the best event that you've seen in some time.
Yeah, this is the best jiu-jitsu promotion I've seen in 2025. It was incredible. As far as like action per minute, if you look at the bracket alone just blows your mind. I think they had at least 5 ADCC vets in there. So they had, just going to rattle off names, Corbe, they had Krellenstein, I believe they had Johnny Grippo, they had Pato, they had Jet Thompson, they had Josh Cisneros, Manning Leverett, PGF vet. I'm trying to remember who the other two were, and I'm going to feel bad because I'm going to forget them. But the action per minute in that thing was crazy. If you just watch some of these guys, some of these exchanges, I wonder how they keep up with each other. Sorry, guys.
It's okay.
He was inside all day. I didn't want to put him in.
So what is he saying to you in this moment? You speak fluent that dog. So what is the dog?
I don't speak Spanish.
Is it a Chihuahua?
Yeah, he's a Chihuahua.
What is the Chihuahua trying to tell you? Like, did you neglect the Chihuahua? Were you mean to him?
Oh, that's not me.
Food?
There's some dog with the audacity to live and breathe in this area. Oh, I was wrong. It's somebody coming in my house.
Oh,
that's crazy. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm getting robbed. Let me live narrate.
Yeah.
The burglar has made it in. He is currently threatening me.
Can I say this?
Go
the
now.
Best thing that anybody should do if they're getting robbed while on air is be like, hey, would you like to make an appearance? Come on, I'll just put
Bro, if I hand him the microphone, I bet that diffuses the whole situation.
I think so. The dude's like, hey, man, I've just always been neglected. I've got really good takes on the IBJJF steroids.
He said, you guys talking about Felipe Costa?
What?
Which one?
Tim, I'm going to reset the time, but you tell us what it is that you took away from this invitational.
Well, they did a good job. One of the challenges of stretching out their tournament structure like they did is that it plays out over 10 or 12 months or something like that. And it's hard to keep the interest and keep the energy going. Like Kevin said, it was a great night of matches, and what a great night for Corbe. And he walks away with $100,000. Like, he didn't have to split it with nobody. That money went to him. And he looked good. He got big wins over Cisneros. He got a win over Pato. And I bet you Greg Souders somewhere is licking his chops going, take that, Big Dan and Tom DeBlas. Like, my guy just won $100,000. So, good night for him. Good for Zapatero. Good for jiu-jitsu. It's good to see these guys getting paid. That's some legitimate cash right there.
It is. And I mean, listen, dude, one of the things that I found was Josh LeDuc has been talking about this for a really, really long time. To see it come to life is really good. I know scheduling sometimes gets in the way. He promised it. He made it work. I'm not sure how he got the 100K. I don't know if he was selling some illegal watches that just fell off a truck somewhere. I don't know if he was threatening people, working for the mob on the side. Whatever it is, the dude's at a full plate between teaching, being a new dad. He's definitely made this work somehow, some way. So I was very pleased to see this come together, and I loved hearing the notes. And we actually have it on the books here at Grappling Hour to have an interview very soon with DeAndre. So I'm going to be able to ask him questions. And I think one of the first things I want to ask him is, what does it feel like to be the poster boy for Eco at this time and space? Because one of the things I saw that I wanted to kind of bring up to you guys before we close this one out, does this validate the Eco life? Because they kept saying, who's winning? Who's winning? And this man has been at the forefront of that conversation. So do you think it is worthy to now say, maybe there might be something to it? I come to you first, Tim.
No, not necessarily. Sorry. I mean, it's awesome that he won, but yeah, I bet there's footage of him drilling somewhere. No, I just I don't think those kinds of things prove the effectiveness. These athletes at this highest pinnacle, they're all like special people. And I think what really kind of shows the effectiveness of something is how does the common mass of people kind of catch it the most. But I still think it's a great feather in the hat of ecological jujitsu. So can't
Same
talk too much smack on it.
question over to you, Kevin.
Yeah, I don't. This isn't the thing that does it. Let me be like clear because we've had debates on this, and I'm always like shitting on eco bros. My issue is not with the methodology; it's with the dogmatic nature, the way they talk. Like the pseudo intellectual stuff drives me nuts. I think that's like the biggest sickness in jujitsu. People are like steroids is killing jujitsu. I'm like, nah, it's pseudo intellectualism. That shit's annoying. Yeah, the issue is not with the actual ecological drilling. That's sick. It's great. Also, conveniently, we all do it. We all do situationals. We all do constraints-based training. You guys and I did it the other fucking month when you challenged me to not use leg locks for a month. Sick. That's a constraint. It's going to help me develop other parts of my game. DeAndre Corbey's a singular athlete. Like Tim said, he's going to be great. You could drop him into any room you want. Drop him into New Wave. I doubt he starts losing, right? Drop those New Wave guys over at Standard. I doubt they start losing. Like, for the common masses, you need some ecological. Of course, you need drilling still. I don't think this really breaks the bank on anything. Like, Johnny Grippo's an eco guy, and he
So is the accusation that it didn't help him? Like, I'm not quite.
it's not the accusation. Like, man, it can't be conclusive, or you'd have seen them both in the finals, right? Like, if it's game breaking. Also, like maybe the issue with Johnny's game is he did drill before he became an eco bro, so they're still like rinsing the drilling out of him. I don't know, but Johnny's a beast. He always was a beast. If he says eco helps him, that's sick. But I have to say, I really feel like if you abandon drilling, you're gonna struggle.
Got it.
Yeah, I don't think this proves anything conclusively.
I think that
Sorry,
Kevin
eco
made
bros.
the accusation it is another Joshua Fabia, and that he is being Diego Sanchez power washed here. Got it. Okay.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're laying
down.
down.
Rinse it out of him. They're just like, why do you keep drilling? Like,
no, bro. The problem is the 10 years you spent drilling, bro. What are you doing? It ruined your game. Like, no, probably not, man. You know.
Do you think it's like a waterboard to get it out of you? Do you think that they take them in and it's like somebody addicted to drugs? They have to go through like a decompress sort of thing where it's like, hey man, you're tied to a bed for a week. You want to drill, you can't.
Detox period. I've definitely trained with coaches that were like, yeah, man, you got to get the old coach out of your like Creolante life, right? You change gyms. And they're like, yeah, you got to get the old coach out of your system, all that bad jujitsu you learned at that other school. And you're like, I kind of feel like in the 2 years or 3 years or whatever I was at the other school, like I got better at jujitsu. I kind of don't feel like it's holding me back, but okay. Like I could 100% see like certain individual. I could see Greg Souders being like, yeah, man, the issue is all the drilling you did. The way he talks, I could see that being an issue for him. Got to give it like a 1-year moratorium before he's really your coach. You know what I mean?
I mean, understood. Nonetheless, we're going to move on to our next topic before Kevin really starts talking about how they waterboard and get out here. But our next topic.
Listen, I'll get in there.
I'm sure you will. You know what?
What if you go, I would love that discussion.
If you
let's
go
talk about
cover and be like a covert eco bro for like a minute, just to give us the intel on like how it happens and if there's like a secret society they join, that'd be great. Nonetheless, we've got something confirmed here, and this came straight from the lips of Craig Jones, which were conveniently pressed against Gabby Garcia yet again this weekend as he made an appearance in Los Angeles. What's up, Craig? Nonetheless, not only did he do a seminar, but he put out a video this week that said, guess what? Lachlan Giles, or as he calls him, Lockie, is confirmed as a coach, which begs the question, wait, what? These guys are getting coaches now? Like, what's happening? Is this turning into The Voice, The Ultimate Fighter? Are we going to have coaches fight at the end of the season? I don't think any of that's happening. But nonetheless, it is cool to see that, and that there may be trials for the Australasia. Let me just double check what this says here, Tim. It says Giles named head coach in
Australasia.
Australasia. Okay.
That's what they're calling it. Yeah.
I don't want to call it any of that. I'm just calling it like koalas or whatever they have down there. Nonetheless,
koalas and kiwis.
I put time on the clock. Tim, what does this mean for CGI2?
Well, it's an interesting idea to have these coaches. I think Craig also announced that New Wave is going to have a team as well, but I don't remember if he mentioned anything about coaches. I'm assuming Danaher would be the coach of that. The other kind of development that I thought was cool is Craig had said that Lachlan needs to get approval for any of the guys he wants on the team, and that obviously CJ wants Levi Jones and Lucas Kennard. But outside of that, like, I don't really care who Lachlan gets on the team. He can pull his own guys in. Lachlan's talking about having some kind of trials. There's a bunch of chatter about, like, where are these trials at? Who's going to be in them? This is Australasia. It'd probably be a boomerang throwing contest or something. But it'll be interesting to see who Lachlan pulls in, because these are guys that the coaches are pulling in, not the promotion per se. So pretty cool stuff.
Fair enough. Kevin, what make you of this new announcement as well?
I think it's awesome. I think it's a great way to, like, from a practical perspective, keep these teams actual teams. We train together, these guys, because coaches are less likely to assemble an all-star team. You know what I mean? They want their guys to do well. If you're going to, like, leverage a little bit of favoritism, that's a great way to do it. I also love the idea of these guys, like, globetrotting a little bit. Like, Lachlan Giles pulls up on an athlete in a dark room and is like, does the Nick Fury, like, I'm assembling a team of gifted individuals. And, like, dude's like, yeah, man, I know who you are. You can turn the light on. Like, I love the assemble the crew thing. Let me know who it is, so that, like, when these guys show up, like, we can do a whole thing.
Do you think that he has to show up by starting with, "G'day, mate, I'm putting together a team"? Like, is that how it has to happen, or is there some other way he's doing it?
I don't know, but if it doesn't involve sunglasses, he's fucking up.
Tim, you were about to say something.
I said he's got to show up with Vegemite. That's how you know he's for real, man.
Fair enough. Like, not this poser Australasia. And it's, speaking of which, the articulate BJJ, I have to ask you, you are in the Instagram. You just popped on. Are you going to be trying out for that team? Because you're somebody who's been doing a lot of great work in that general region of the world. So I'm interested to see how this plays out, because it could be a very interesting team they put together. So what's up, Big Sexy 25? Hello, friends. Feel free to send us your questions. We're going to move on to another topic, but we'll take your questions at the very end of the show. Our next topic, of course, being that of exclusiveness. Normally a bad thing, but in terms of jiu-jitsu, sometimes very financially lucrative or interesting to look at from a creative perspective. It looks like Fionn is the latest to sign an exclusive deal with Fight Pass, thus the UFC. So when they say they're investing about $10 to $12 million, getting a top talent like Fionn is a very smart idea. So I'll start with this. Kevin, what do you think about this signing? And two, how much of that $10 million to $12 million do you think we will actually see get spent?
I think grapplers are cheap. I don't think 10 to 12 million is going to necessarily be needed. People are so ready to sign on just for the UFC name. They can get people at a steal. I mean, what does the PGF pay for 28 people? Like 20 grand? Yeah. 20 grand with a shot at more. But as far as an exclusive deal, I think it's a great idea. I mean, it worked out for Mikey Musumeci, like, really well. Getting a promotion that's willing to, like, invest and build you up is great, especially for, like, Fionn Davies specifically. I feel like that's a phenomenal pickup. She's sort of got to be the most dominant weight class by weight class, right? Like, we can talk about Gordon, but Fionn's been killing it for years. She smashes everybody, and she's a draw, and people like her. That's a great pickup.
Tim, who's coming up next? I mean, Fion makes sense, and on paper, definitely I could see that working. But who would we like to see get picked up by the Fight Pass Invitational folks?
That's a really great question, because so far they have only come out and announced that they signed Musamichi. I think there's speculation that they signed Gordon, but I don't think they've made an official announcement on that. Now they have Fion. Obviously, those are all super big names. They have a bunch of other athletes that they signed to fight, per card. And it makes you wonder, are they going to do like a mix where they only have a few that are actually signed to long-term, perhaps exclusive deals, and then the rest are just clamoring to kind of get on the card in hopes that they'll get a contract offer like that. I think there's interest in Nicky Rod, and I think there's going to be some eyes on his next match at WNO 28. I think that the winner of that match is probably going to get some attention from Fight Pass. I know Nicky just lost on Fight Pass, but I think if he has another good matchup there, that sets up a really good potential matchup between him and Gordon on Fight Pass Invitational. So I would like to see that. I'd like to see them pick up one of the Tackett brothers or both of them. I think that'd be a great pickup. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't think they're going to spend all the money. I think Kevin's right about that. I don't think they have to spend all the money. But it's good for jiu-jitsu, man. It's going to be interesting to see how things start to shift around, who shows up on what. I think 2025 is going to be a big year in that regard.
I want to take this time to talk about a real opportunity here in jiu-jitsu, and I'm not sure people really understand. When Dana White said that they're going to spend $10 to $12 million on jiu-jitsu, I thought, that's great. Then I had a beer or two and realized I'm not sure that's going to happen. And if it doesn't, a welcome opportunity. So here's what I'd like to propose to you in the UFC. You're not going to spend that money in jiu-jitsu. If you do, God bless, and we can use it. Thank you. But I'd like to think there's something that we can do creative in this struggling economy, which is, and hear me out, don't judge me, money laundering. Now, I know that some of you think it's bad, and sure, probably is. Never done it, but I would tell you that if $6 million did go missing from that $12 million, and maybe use some coupons on some athletes, who's going to check the books? And who hasn't had an organization or two that has had MMA with shady connections? I'm just saying, this is a rare opportunity, and I would like to propose that we here at Jiu-Jitsu finally make some real money by money laundering so that other kids can learn jiu-jitsu. Not bad? I think we can do that. Okay. That's my proposal. Nonetheless,
I would like to let them know that for the low cost of one of that 10 to 12 million, we will do a great pre and post show.
We will
Yeah.
We will sell the rights to the show to 100% do that and money launder all of the monopoly money, wink, that you have. I would like to point out, I have done that the most legally acceptable way as possible so as to not implicate the bullpen. But I'm just saying, it's out there, and it's the best way to make sure it gets put on the books. Tim,
so listen, man, if you need an accessory,
it looks like, yes, you sent this to me. So we
that's
have
for
an
later.
Update. Oh, you want to bring that up later? Okay. Well, let's go ahead and move to our next topic, which is very simply flow. So there's always something happening at Flow, but it does look like, yes, Mika actually signed a 2-year deal with Flow. So a little bit earlier, we were talking about the exclusivity window that Fion has. It does look like Mika is actually pushing away his MMA career. And I apologize to Mika. The keyboard actually added an H here unnecessarily. So that's on the keyboard, not on us. But nonetheless, for Mika Galvo, what are your thoughts on this? Because, Tim, weren't we getting excited to see him go to MMA? I'm happy to keep him in jiu-jitsu, but it does mean that we're starting to offer a little bit more incentive that would sweeten the deal, where most athletes say the real money is actually in MMA a few years ago. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I would love to see him in MMA. And I think the serious coin is in MMA if you're good at it, right? And who knows what that is like. That's tricky. Just because you're great at jiu-jitsu doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be successful in a mixed martial arts career. I think Flo, they must have offered him a decent chunk of change. I believe it's like a 2-year extension, and it covers 5 events, with the first one starting on who's number 128. It's coming up. Good for him, man. He's been pretty tightly connected to Flo Grappling for quite a while now. I think that's kind of obvious. And I think Flo is really latching onto him as their marquee athlete. And it makes sense. Like he won the Grand Slam in 2024. He's doing pretty damn good, man. He's on a strong run. I wish that we could see the terms of these contracts from Fight Pass and from Flo. That would be really fascinating to get a look at, but obviously it's got to be decent. He's deferring MMA for a while, so congrats to Mika.
Kevin, you've already given your price as to what would make you exclusive for your nefarious affairs. What would it take for you to get signed for an exclusiveness for your athleteness?
For my athleteness?
Yes.
I don't know. I think I'd have to be a lot better at jiu-jitsu. Nah, I'm not sure, man. Flo might be hurting for athletes right now. He's about to yank my headset out.
It's okay.
I want to point out Mika's really good at swimming upstream, man. When everybody was like flooding, this is gonna seem like I'm taking a shot at him. I'm actually very impressed with his ability to do this and remain like beloved by the jiu-jitsu community. When everybody was like, that New York Times article came out about fight sports and everybody was like fleeing the ship and cutting ties, he like reaffirmed. And I'm guessing it was for a giant bag of cash. Then same thing happened with ADCC and CJI. He would have been a steal for CJI. I'm sure Craig was like in his ear left and right. He's super exciting. He's a really good draw, et cetera, et cetera. And he stuck with ADCC. Didn't really play out super well for him, but I'm assuming he secured the bag for it, which great job. And then the same thing here. You have to imagine the UFC wanted him as a pickup, and Flo signs him because they're scrambling for athletes. He's an incredible talent, et cetera, et cetera. I'm sure he's secured yet another bag. He's really, really good at swimming upstream and still maintaining, like, he's a super popular athlete, still maintaining his status. It's really impressive.
Indeed, indeed. And you know what? Listen, guys, he's a great athlete. I don't know exactly what the future holds for him. He'll definitely be a good investment from the Flo side. We had somebody here, Articulate BJJ, who was saying, I don't know that I like exclusiveness in contracts. And I think that's a good point, but it depends on how long the contract is. Like, if we're talking a year's worth of your jiu-jitsu life, all things considered, not that bad, unless you're a little bit older in the age. Like, 1 year, probably not that detrimental in the long term of what you're trying to do. And if you're looking at Mika and it's a 5 grappling match deal, then maybe you're just trying to get on every single who's number one and just burn that contract out over a year or a year and a half. Cool. I don't think that burns you as badly as getting ready for a fight. So I feel like, okay, if he's really serious, that gives him some time to hone that craft a little bit more on the MMA side, which I think he's already been doing and was expecting to showcase that now. But I don't think it hurts him to spend more time developing his craft and getting some good kind of intel for more of an MMA style form of grappling that he could be preparing in his back pocket. So, hey, listen, it's like getting paid for more time on the job. Not going to hate it. You know, they're basically paying for your education in fight school. So, yeah, why not? Do it. And make more money, dude, by all means. That's the thing we should be encouraging people to do. Go out there, secure your bag, make more money, and leave a rope trail for the next people to make a little bit more. Because the idea is, if you just make the money and you gobble all the money up, yikes. But I have a feeling you opening the door a little bit more makes the next person go like, hey, you know, I was thinking, I've won a few things too. And then we start to make, I don't know, real people money in this, as opposed to the prizes you get at carnivals. So there be that. Why don't we move to our next topic, gentlemen, which is 7 question mark? No, this isn't a referendum on the David Fincher film 7. This is an exploration on, it looks like there seems to be some conflict. Bobby Botham and our very own Kevin Sherrill have been going back and forth. Now, the easy thing here would be to ask Kevin what happened, but I'm going to ask Tim what happened so that we can get the summarization and then the response from Kevin. So, Tim, what is happening here?
That's a great question, and it's something that I've been trying to figure out. And I don't quite have the right read on it, but my guess is that Kevin is very touchy about his handsomeness. He checks in with his stylist all the time. He was wearing a hat earlier. He was concerned. It was like the bad haircut Seinfeld episode, that it wouldn't look right. He also checked in with the stylist about the wearing of the hat. So this is a guy that's very concerned about his appearance. Botham, who is handsome too, is trying to make a run at this title apparently, or he's not, or Botham just combed his hair that day and Kevin took umbrage to it and is upset and thinks he's being challenged. I'm really wanting to hear what Kevin's thoughts are on this, because he threw this topic up and he just put Botham challenges for the handsome title, and that was it. And so I ran with 7 and most handsome alive on People magazine.
Fair enough. Okay, well, I think it's important that we get a grown-up perspective from a grown-up analyst. So why don't we go ahead to said grown-up analyst in one, Kevin Sherrill. Kevin, your thoughts?
I just get promoted. Yeah, Bobby came for my hair. That's too far, man. He said I had a dollar store haircut. That's personal. That's insane. You're insulting me. You're fighting my stylist second. Just so you know, man, after you lose to me, you're losing to my stylist. She took umbrage. She didn't like it. She doesn't even grapple, but I feel like she'll go for the eyes. That seems like her kind of thing. Yeah, listen, man. This is the most desired belt in grappling, in combat sports. Everybody wants it. Everybody wants that handsome title. Not everybody gets a shot. He's a worthy challenger. Unfortunately for him, he made it personal, and now I gotta go for the throat.
I understand, as you need to do. Can we just bring up one small fact here, which is that somehow in all of this conversation, we discovered that you go back and forth with your stylist. What I realized, though, was the antithesis of that is you don't go back and forth with us at all. So I think maybe this is just a logistical repositioning of things, because you are an analyst here on this show. And I have a feeling if I were to look at the text to your stylist and the text to the bullpen group chat, I think there would be a disproportionate amount of responses.
You would be surprised.
Really?
Yeah, like I see her literally just before she has to hassle me into haircuts. Like I'm very much so like every 3 months. If y'all like have seen the hair go from like out to here, and then like that's not intentional. That's me not getting a haircut for like 3 months. And she'll hit me up and be like, "What are you doing?" And I'll be like, "You're right. Do you have an opening Wednesday?"
Let me just try to figure out what this is here. Are we talking about a jiu-jitsu match? Are we talking about you guys fighting a bear? It is very confusing to me, but I know that I want exclusive rights to it. So let me hear what it is we're trying to do, and then I'll figure out if I do want the exclusive rights. Because you guys fighting a bear, I don't know that I can sell that. You guys fighting each other, maybe. But like, you guys fighting in tandem against somebody else, maybe. I don't know. I just want to hear what it is we're looking at.
Yes, supposedly. So initially, me and Bobby were talking about having a match on the PGF finale. He would potentially do the same stuff I did last year, just saying, where he rips the suit off and pulls up to have his match. He does great work as the announcer, and now he wants to come out of retirement and return to the PGF for a match. And unfortunately, that's not going to go well for him. However, we did put the poll up on what sort of match we should have, and fighting a bear is the overwhelming favorite. So I don't know where this is going to need to take place, where that's legal, but I think me and Steven may need to set our qualms aside, because I watched The Revenant and it didn't go very well for the guy fighting the bear.
Well, I'll look into it, but I'll also have to have a nice chat with PETA that it's for sport, not for kill. Nonetheless, Wallow J, did People
we're not
Magazine
killing the
license
bear.
that image? My lawyer will be in touch. No, that's a big mistake. It's actually Purple Magazine. Did you not see what it looks like right there? It's Purple Magazine because we use the colors purple.
Listen, Wallow J, I lifted the damn image, okay? It was me. I'm the one that did it. Call
Bro,
my attorney. I don't got shit, dude. You can have
I'm
it.
never robbing a bank with Tim. He folded before you finished your sentence.
I know.
Rav said, nah, man, we didn't do it. Prove it. And Tim said, I did it.
I'm not afraid of
me.
Wallow J.
You know, Tim is essentially mumbles and fucking Dick Tracy over here and basically gives away the whole plot of the movie.
You know what?
Two-thirds of the
You
way
guys
through.
were right. I throw myself on your mercy.
You know, you guys are right. I always wanted to get Raph. How can we do this? Let's make it happen faster. It's the longest con we've ever seen. And it says, Ardilla on retainer, dog. Well, your lawyer, you're going to be very surprised who our lawyer is then. So, yikes.
Paul yelling at himself in a mirror.
Exactly.
Have you seen
How dare
Bullpen Court, Wallow? We have two very, very powerful attorneys on staff.
I'll be very clear. There was an invitation to Paul to be on PGF Court. And I got to tell you, he's a very competitive guy, but is afraid of Bullpen Court. So,
Scared.
Just saying.
That's accurate. That is absolutely accurate.
Just saying.
He folded under the pressure that he knew we would bring on Bullpen Court.
That's true. And there's no way to disprove that, which is very sad. So he just has to live with it. We're now looking at this. The GFL announces their very first card. Now, normally, this is a cause for celebration. In this particular case, it's also a cause for concern. And why is that? Well, the announced matches thus far in are Lima versus Hall. I like that. That's good. Henderson versus Pettis. Okay. It's kind of a Masters Division MMA fight. I dig that. Favor versus Barao. Awesome. Can dig that one as well. If you've waited this long, you know the fight I'm going to mention. If you do not, prepare your brain. Ferguson versus Danis. This match is sad for many reasons, but having to see a non-prime Tony Ferguson matched up against the unproven Dylan Danis is something that the MMA gods are doing to laugh at us. Nonetheless, I pose this question to both of you guys. Hearing these very first 4 matches, which are now rumored to take place at the Shrine here in Los Angeles, what is your varied interest? I'll start with you, Tim.
My interest level's high. This is May 24th, May 25th, Shrine Auditorium, Los Angeles, California. I'm excited to see these guys. I think that there's going to be interest in these guys, but you're only going to see them 1 or 2 times, and it'll be probably another crop of dudes. I like all the fights on the card. Henderson, Pettis, man, how many times are these guys going to fight? This is the 4th time. Like, this is kind of breaking fight code. There's like, you can't. Rocky didn't even fight Apollo Creed 4 times. This is too much. Man. This is like their kid's going to start fighting next. Ferguson versus Danis, very, very conflicted. Either way, I'm going to have to see Danis win, or I'm going to have to see Ferguson go in there and fight. And I don't want to see Ferguson take damage. But if he's going to go in there, I want him to beat the brakes off of Danis. I just think at least Tony can walk away at the end and go, hey, everybody, you're fucking welcome. I did that for you. I did that for you. I think everybody would like to see that. No disrespect to Dylan Dennis, but that's the position you've put yourself in. Outside of that, man, yeah, I don't want to see Ferguson take any damage at all. Like, I'm going to cry if I see him get concussed or get hurt, man.
Well, you wouldn't be the only one, so there is that. Kevin, I come to you now. What are your thoughts on these proposed matches?
Yeah, I mean, Lima versus Uriah Hall is an absolute banger. Obviously, I'm biased, but I feel like even an unbiased MMA fan is going to see that and go, holy shit, like, that's fantastic. The rest of them, you have really good matchups on that. Same thing for Tim, man. If I need to see Tony Ferguson beat the absolute brakes off Dylan Dennis, sorry, Dylan Dennis, because if Tony Ferguson loses to a 3-fight pro, I don't know what's happening. At a minimum, I'm driving home in silence. Like, it's going to be a rough time around the house. Like, I think they're going to see a huge uptick in, like, day drinking for MMA fans. Like, it's going to go very poorly. This is a high-stakes fight if I've ever seen it. We got a former world champion, interim world champion, fighting a 3-fight pro that is kind of universally, we'll say, controversial. The amount of shit he's going to talk if he beats Tony, I'll have to shut my Instagram down for like a week. I can't do it, man. I'm not strong enough. Like, Tony needs to win. I've never been more invested.
You're not wrong on that. I do want to point this out, though. First of all, who is this? Is this Dolly on the photo, Tim? Or is that Charlo?
Yeah, that's Dolly.
Okay.
Why?
Stacked. Come on, you guys. It's Dolly. It's not even a bad thing. This is like a known thing. You can do it with Dolly. She's a good sport. This is, and she's like 80, dog. No one's tripping anymore. This is a picture from a long time. I'm not, come on. She's grandfathered in like Quentin Tarantino, dog. You can say Dolly stacked. No, I'm right, Raph. No, I'm right.
I'm in a place of trying to make one thing sound like a legitimate fight. And then even as I'm struggling to figure out the logistics, the verbal acrobatics you have to do to say, no, Tony Ferguson versus Dylan Dennis is a good match. Nobody believes that. We just believe, Tony, we elect you to go beat up this dude because we just don't like him, and let's see what happens here. And hopefully that's the result we get. But as we've kind of posed it here, it may not be the result. And if it's not, we're not prepared for that because it could happen. Let me just say this real quick. The hard part for me is then when I see this picture of Dolly up in the corner, I go, what the fuck are any of us doing? Maybe you're right to put that up there because it's granted the same kind of logistics that it took to make the match. And then at the same point, I'm thinking, like, actually, I have a lot of respect for Dolly. Dolly would never do anything dumb. So it's like an imbalance. Where I want to leave you guys is this. Do you think there's a possibility we don't make this match happen? Because now that Conor McGregor is running for president of Ireland, there could be a cabinet position for Dylan Dennis that maybe takes him out of this fight. And in doing so, restores the balance of he wouldn't have the opportunity to beat a former UFC interim champion.
Yeah, I could see Dennis jumping at that. Like if Conor asked him to be his Secretary of the Interior or something, I could see Dennis going straight to X and getting wild with it.
I think it would actually be Secretary of Me fucking Money.
Yeah,
the cabinet
bro,
position that is up.
Other than the fact that like Conor probably daps up his cabinet members with a smooth 50K every now and then, I have to feel like you'd want to fight the former world champion over that. It's like, that's a huge dub, man. I beat Tony Ferguson. Everybody already hates you. What do you stand to lose?
It's what do we stand to lose, Kevin? That's the issue,
dude.
Yeah.
Tony needs to beat the shit out of Dylan. And then please retire. I can't keep doing this. You're killing me, bro.
I can't keep doing this.
You're killing me, dude.
All right, let's go to our final topic, which is, of course, essentially the fight. So with this fight, Tim, what can you tell us about this week's fight of the week?
It's like no fight I've ever seen. Honestly, guys, I don't know if these guys agreed to a special rule set ahead of time. It takes place in the standard, like, let's go into the bathroom at high school and fight. And that's clear. They were following tradition. But these are not Queensberry rules. This is another rule set that I haven't seen before. Maybe it's a startup organization like Power Slap or something. But it's different. Wildly entertaining, but still kind of leaves you scratching your head at the end. Hard to tell who won.
All right, that makes me more concerned to watch this in full now. But nonetheless, why don't we go ahead and jump to it? Tim, you can walk us through whatever it is we're about to see here for this week's Fight of the Week.
We got big guy striped shirt against big guy solid shirt, and it's time to tee off, and then he tees off back. And I think this was just a body shot brawl.
Yeah, they must have agreed to only body shots or something. What is going on?
No face shots.
Send one up top, buddy.
Did you guys ever, in your experience with this sort of a thing, did you ever have people just go bodies, and that just meant you could only hit the bodies? Is that something that is familiar with everybody here?
A little more formal than that, but yeah.
What was your formal version, Kevin? Please tell us.
Well, because it's always like, it's never somebody. It's never like a stranger. It's always like your buddy or somebody a classmate or some shit in high school. And it was like, hey man, we can fight, but we're not going to the face. Like we're just gonna settle this shit with shots to the body. And it's like, all right, bro, like we can do that. That kind of thing.
You gotta agree on it ahead of time.
Someone says bodies, and I'm like, oh yeah, totally. And then I fucking dump him on his head.
Yeah, but I will say this: sometimes the circle surrounding the fighters will call an audible, and they'll go like, "No kicking, no wrestling,
right?
like stand them up, none of this." It just
headlock. That's illegal. Like what?
It's like a bunch of kids playing a made up game, man. They just kind of all make up the rules and agree on it, and that's what happened. I can't figure this fight out, but I loved watching it.
You're not wrong. I'm going to take a bat at it here, but I do want to say, even this week, I finished training jiu-jitsu with one of my buddies who's always like, oh, you don't want to do like an MMA round or a kickboxing round? And then he threw a knee at me and then was very surprised that he got a liver kick at his like next beckoning. And I go, hey man, just because I don't train it doesn't mean I don't know how to do it. I just don't pretend like I'm better at it. I just know my lane that I'm good at. And then he looked at me and he was like, yeah, that landed really clean. I was like, because you hit me in the knee with a stomach knee combination. What am I supposed to do here? So anyway,
last time I agreed to a body shots only fight, the dude threw an elbow to my face. So he didn't connect, thankfully. But otherwise, I lose my title.
I was going to say, I was like, all right, Kevin, I'm going to let you take a stab at this one, sir. I'm putting the fight back on in 3, 2, go.
Yeah, man, I love this. The head and the chest with the body. This is vintage Tyson. Vintage Tyson. Clearly, it's starting to weigh in because Stripes versus Solids here. Stripes starts returning fire. And I got to be honest, the rope-a-dope strategy, maybe not the way to go. I feel like in the streets, it's solid, but Solids shows a lot of good cardio here. I'm surprised at the volume he's willing to put out. Like, usually you see guys gas after 3 or 4 shots. That was like a good 12-punch combo. We're doing rock'em sock'em robots.
I want to point this out from my perspective. So first off, we should acknowledge the fact that young Jeff Garlin over here, his strategy is to just absorb punishment in the same way that the Blob from X-Men did. It was like,
oh my God, I was going to make that reference.
And I understand in this day and age that might not necessarily be the most PC, but that was what the Blob did on the X-Men. He's like, nothing hurts the Blob. And you just kind of punch him in the stomach. And he's like, oh.
Dude, this is unstoppable force, immovable object. We got 20-punch combos, and we just got him absorbing them.
But what I want to point out here, and maybe I'm telling a little bit too much about my gym today, this is not uncommon. Like, I see this walking into the gym most of the times to end practice. Like, I walk in and people just go like, hey, man, we're going to work on abs now. And I go, I'm good just doing my thing. You guys do what you need to do. And then you'll see a civilian walk in, And normally they don't lock eyes with anybody else. And when a civilian walks in from the streets and they look at me, I just look at them and I go, "Hi, my name's Raf. I'm the jiu-jitsu coach." And I'm hoping that the tone in my voice is, I'm the normal one. But I don't know if that's exactly what gets communicated, because then I'm basically just beating up these goons and doing pro wrestling finishers on them when they're trying their hardest to not get submitted by a figure four leg lock. So I don't know that I'm a better culprit, but nonetheless, observations I have here. So of course he takes these hits, and when we talk bodies, there was one rule that was unspoken. Once you started going to the chest, like, what are we doing here, fam? Like, this dude is trying to Kali Ma him and try to take out his heart and doesn't succeed. And the look on this dude's face who's absorbing it, young Jeff Garland just looking at him like actually disappointed he's not doing better. And let's be honest, we should be going more for the organs here. And instead, he's going straight into the fat, which actually tends to be the power. And you would think that young Jeff Garland's going to go, but young Jeff Garland swings a little too low here, guys.
Ooh,
I'm just
yeah.
going to point out, if you paused it right here, you might get a very different idea of what this bathroom video is about. Nonetheless, they go all the way through, no real connections from here on out, and it does go into a scuffle, and the video just ends, and it just leaves it open to your interpretation as to where it may have gone next. So I appreciate that. Tim, do you have time
Yeah, a
to
little
stay for these comments, or
suspense.
do I need to circle you out, sir?
I got a couple more minutes.
All right, let's do this. Let's bring up these gallery comments as we put today to a close. These were some comments that were brought in. I'll grab one here in a second that was actually sent while we were doing the show. But Tim, what can you tell us about this gallery comment here and why it is we're bringing it up?
So this is Craig Jones in the bathtub when he's making the announcement about Lachlan Giles being the coach, and one of the commenters, A Frost 1990, just politely came out and said, "Dibs on the bathwater," which is really gross, dude. Like, super gross, man. But hey, thirsty.
I mean,
Don't yuck people's yum.
Is it not like the demo you court, though, when you're Craig Jones?
It is.
Because
Yeah.
the rest of us can say things like, "Oh my god, oh," whereas Craig is probably looking at it being like, "Hey man, that's a good one." Like, So to me, I'm like, no, I think that's par for the course. Because again, I had the opportunity to go to a Craig Jones seminar this week. Thank you to him. Thank you to our buddy Anthony, all the homies there. And I got to interact, and it was not far off from what was being said. And what I noticed was during the Q&A session, there were questions where when Craig is literally showing people how to do things, but to us, they look like the hardest things you've ever done. And then somebody goes, "Hey, would you have sex with Gabby Garcia?" And you go, "Right. For sure. For sure, this is what we're doing on a Q&A here." And then, I realized he was also a gentleman who had printed out a shirt that had Craig kissing the other guy at the UFC. So that little screenshot made that into a shirt, and I said, "Oh, okay. I give the kid some props. That's pretty funny that he did that. Like, that took some time to do." And to show up at a seminar and be like, and Craig being like, So,
all right.
Let's go to our next one, which is this. This was in response to the many different fights here, and I'll go ahead and read this one. Now, somebody puts up, somebody needs to make the GFL video game.
Which would be sick, especially if they played old. Yeah.
But the one that I think you're really referencing is the one at the very bottom. And
yeah.
This is one that, Kevin, I'll read out to you because I feel like it might be Kevin's burner that just says, "I'm going to fucking die unhappy if Dennis beats Tony."
Yeah, I'm going to die unhappy and very immediately.
So we got two more here, and it says, this is for the Mika one, and it says, in MMA, I would become a millionaire with the UFC. The bald white would grow an egg in our pupil. So,
I don't know what that means, dude. That's why I put it in there. What
I have to say, Tim, sometimes when I don't proof these things and I just put them on the screen, it does make it so that it is a cold read for me. So you'll see my very real reactions as I go, that's not a sentence, sir. And additionally, if it was, I don't want to know what it meant.
Yeah,
I
names
just
Bond
wanted
is
your
having a
guys'
strong.
And let me just
Yeah,
point
I
this
was like,
out as we put up our last little prompt here. This came from our YouTube live feed. And this is right as we started the show. And it said, "Who are you guys? Introduce yourself." And I can't say this enough. We legitimately did that, sir. That's what you do in the first 2 to 3 minutes of the show. Hi, my name's RAF ESPARZA. Look at the lower third. This is Tim. This is Kevin. We literally spend time telling you about our personalities, and then we go to the board. So I just want to say this, Mr. Shabazz or Shabazz Khan. Just for the love of God, I know it's fun to watch things live, but you can always scroll back in the video to see what the fuck we were talking about. But just to command us while we're mid-broadcast, introduce yourselves. Tell me who is speaking to me on the interwebs. Bold.
He walked into a conversation, like people talking in a room, we're all having a conversation. He goes, "You guys being real fucking rude. You didn't introduce yourselves to me." Like, oh, all right, my bad, bro. Shabazz.
Egg just asked, "Is that a real fight lineup?" It indeed
Yeah.
is, sir. So we will close with that. Yeah, you're just showing up in time for us to close on out. Tim, why don't you tell the people where they can find you, sir?
yes, sir. You can find me at Inside BJJ on your favorite social media platforms. If you're out in Stockton, go see my boys at 10th Planet Stockton. And if you're out in Nashville, we love to have visitors. Come see us at 10th Planet Nashville.
Beautiful. I'm glad you said that. I should have introduced you by saying, "Introduce yourself, Tim." But we're closing the show. So nonetheless, thank you for that. Kevin, tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, come train with me at American Top Team Lima in Duluth or Superfly BJJ in Atlanta. If you want to do body shots only with Douglas Lima, let me know. I'll hook you up. It'll go great. Otherwise, Kevin Grapples on Instagram.
Thank you for that. Gentlemen, good work this week. Again, congratulations on 1 year. And we also want to send thanks and love to Jake Watson and the OG member of this, aside myself and Tim, which was Matt Scaff, who originally started with us a year ago. So my thanks to you, gentlemen. I'll go ahead and close this bitch on up. But for you guys, thank you so much for watching along. My name is RAF ESPARZA, introducing myself even as we close things off. I want to tell you guys, this is the Bullpen. It is a weekly topical show where we take your questions, your comments, your concerns, your hopes, your dreams, and basically put that into a blender to make a show for all of you combat jiu-jitsu enthusiasts and much, much more. If you like MMA, we talk it. If you like jiu-jitsu, we talk it. Basically, everything here is fair game, including Kevin's hair. Nonetheless, I want to say thank you guys for watching along. It has been an incredible year. We have a lot of plans here for the show to do even bigger and better things. But the way you can support us, head on over to our individual pages at the Grappling Hour and Inside BJJ. Like, comment, and subscribe on those pages. And if you are a new person funneling in and out, not sure if you like us, I get it. It's a first date. Feel free to come back. We'll have a second date, and maybe we'll get to second base. Metaphorically, we're not touching you. We don't like you. Nonetheless, you can also find me on Patreon at Grappling Hour if you want to see my interviews 30 days before everybody else. And for a few extra bucks, you can see extra bonus content that is not available anywhere else. Ladies and gents, that is going to do it for us here at the Bullpen. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you. It has been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.